Apologies for that hitch with the highlights, but of course we'll keep you updated on the very latest stories from across the country. My name is Trix Ingado and our sign language interpreter this evening is Damian Evans. Now right into it, the Ministry of Interior now says that mass distribution of Huduma Namba cards has begun in the nation's capital, Nairobi. The first batch has been dispatched to Huduma centers across Nairobi metropolitan area and its 17 sub-county offices, and Kenyans can collect their cards. This comes nearly 5 months after President Kenyatta and First Lady Margaret Kenyatta became the first Kenyans to receive their cards at the Mashujaa Day celebrations in Kisii last year. Let's begin tonight with KTN's George Maringa.
If you live within Nairobi, then you may have already received such a text message or will soon receive one. After many months of public agitation, coupled with a myriad of questions and government assurances that the National Integrated Identity Management System project was still on, the third-generation cards have finally arrived. Nairobi residents will be the first to get these cards from any Huduma center across the Nairobi metropolitan area. A day after the Ministry of Interior announced that the cards were now out, we bump into James Nyamboga, one of the few Kenyans who have made their way to Huduma Center in the Nairobi Central Business District to pick theirs.
Nikaambiwa kuna app, kuna link, nilikuwa ni log in, halafu ndio niweze ku select a place where I'm going to pick the card.
Collecting his card, James says, was not a tedious process.
Nilipata mmoja akichukua na mimi nikakuwa wa pili hapo, lakini kutoka hapa asubuhi nasikia kuna penye walikuwa wanakuja kuchukua asubuhi.
Mass registration of Kenyans began in early 2019 amidst teething problems. In fact, there was a case in court which later ruled that the process continues on condition that legislation on data protection is enacted. The third-generation biometric cards have a new look, which includes a passport-size photo, details of where one comes from, and a chip card which contains an individual's details. The government has insisted that all existing cards and documents will continue to be valid and that one should not dispose them. However, questions still linger. What happens to those who did not register during the first round? Would they miss out on government services? The government has insisted that the process is voluntary. Would those who ultimately fail to register be excluded? What about Kenyans living abroad? Efforts to get a response from the ministry were futile as our calls and messages went unanswered. Nearly 36 million Kenyans were registered in the first exercise, and another registration for the Huduma Namba is set for April 2021. Close to 10 million of Kenyans who did not register during the first exercise would be targeted. The government maintains that the card would help eradicate rampant corruption in government offices. Meanwhile, Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i has extended the deadline for voiding the old dark blue passports to the East African Community Biometric e-passport by a further 10 months until 31st December 2021. Nearly 2 years later, and a project estimated to cost a total of 7.7 billion shillings, the government is once again banking on Huduma Namba to improve, among other things, service delivery to Kenyans. George Maringa, KTN News, Nairobi.
And now for news from the Lakes.